Well, I'm starting in James chapter 4, starting in verse 15. This is talking about, in James chapter 4, starting in verse 15, about you shouldn't boast of tomorrow. You ought to say, the Lord will. The Lord will, you will be here tomorrow. If the Lord will, you will be able to go do what you need to do. If the Lord will, you will have anything you want. If the Lord will, you'll be here tomorrow night. Because God, He said, if the Lord, you ought to say, if the Lord will, I will be here tomorrow. But if you don't ever say, this is what I'm going to preach on tonight. Don't ever say that I'm going to be here tomorrow. Because you don't know the day shall bring forth. And if you don't know what a day shall bring forth, tomorrow, there in one of these stories I will read to you, it'll talk about this man. He had bigger barns. He said, I am going to build bigger barns. And guess what God said? There's not thy soul shall be required from thee. And he's going to die. He died that night. He had his barns full. We don't know if it's 3 barns, but he had his barns full. He said, I have much goods laid up for many years. And he said, eat, drink, and be merry. We don't know what a day shall come forth. And that night, he didn't know he was going to die. He didn't know it. And your soul's going to be required from you when judgment comes. You might die tonight. Every 2 seconds, somebody dies. Think about it. Several people die a day. How many people die in a minute? How many people die in 24 hours? Because your sin souls die. If they're not saved, they're going down. You can't do nothing about it. You can't do anything about it unless you tell them the word of the Lord. James chapter 4, starting verse 15. For ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. That means, if you say, if the Lord will, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Because you don't know, like I said, if you don't know what a day shall bring forth. Because this title of this message, I'll show you right here. It's called Boast not of tomorrow. And we're not supposed to boast of tomorrow. Because we don't know what a day shall bring forth. We don't know if death's going to come that night. And death will do that. Because if you're not saved, you know you're going to hell. It's not good when you see people go to hell. The story I'm going to tell you real quick is not too long, but it's something about how people treat you. It's something about people treat you. This ain't going with this, but I'm going to tell you. I told everybody that I preached to. I told everybody I could. I went up to New York, and these were these people my first time. I went 2 times. My first time, I preached up there. That first day, we had a film crew with us, doing a documentary. And for Firecracker Films, and we went out to preach. And we went out there, and it was these people, probably about 3. This ain't going to be funny, because it's not fun. People don't want to hear the gospel. There was 3 people, 3 to 4 people out of 15 people probably, or more, sitting out there having lunch. We started preaching. The 4 people rose up, and they said, they talked about the devil. I was sitting there watching, and I was going to play Amazing Grace, and I said, no, I ain't going to do it. Because these people were mocking my daddy, and when I was over there, we had another man, Brother James, and we had another man, Brother Sal, with us. And we were preaching, and Brother Sal was by me. Brother James was over there helping my daddy. There was these 2 men. They held up these signs and said, do what is right. I can't remember what they exactly said, but they said they helped us get out of that place where people were mocking. You have to have more. You know what? You can have more. But it says in the Bible, a 3-woven cord is hard to break. Amen. Plus Jesus. You're going to put 4 woven cords, and that's going to be strong. Because you got Jesus with you. Alright, let's go to verse 12. There is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy, who art thou that judgest another. That verse says you don't need to judge.
Come on now.
There's several verses on here that are talking about different things. But since that verse said that, you know how my daddy told you about 2020? She asked me several things, and it wasn't too hard to answer. Some of them I couldn't answer. And she asked me, will I go to hell if I die? My mom was a Buddhist, and I'm a non-Christian. Then there was this man, which was over there. He wasn't there that day. He came over there. He was over there. They called him in. He was somewhere, an atheist. They called him in, and he came and spoke against us. See how the devil can use things? And he said I was judging. No, I wasn't judging. And the other thing I was doing, they came to our church, Brother Tim saw it. They came to our church and they filmed, and it made me look like I was a pastor. And I wasn't a pastor. I want to make that clear. I wasn't a pastor. Let's turn to Luke. I got to find my places. I got 3 places. Luke chapter 12 and 21. Now, this is something this was that rich man. I think about that. There's 2 rich men I'm going to read in Luke 16 and 19. There will be 2 places. This is the first rich man I'm going to preach. But don't be fooled. This is 2 rich men. This is a rich man that had his treasure later. Starting in verse 16. Luke chapter 12, starting in verse 16. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. Plentiful means that it brought forth plenty. And you'll see this other, when he dies, when we go on to verse 21.